I think all three of those have to be invested in this summer. And if we can get that right, I think that's the difference between us pushing, having promotion challenge and being a mid-table championship team. If we can get those positions right.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and the podcast that we do today, me and Matt love doing because they're actually a response to your questions, the fans. We do these on a fairly regular basis now. We request questions during a community post, and you always come up with some fantastic questions. And the questions that we're going to answer today are from a community post that we had a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to go straight into it as always. Ask Matt the first question, and then we'll have a little chat about what his response is to that. So Matt, first question is from Paul Dutton. Thanks for the question, Paul. And this is a response to Tom Wagner. I think this goes back to when Tom Wagner was talking to the players after the Virtue Cup final, where Tom said that he didn't think we'd hit our targets this year. So, with that in mind, Paul's asked, what do you think will be our targets for the up-and-coming season, either that Tom Wagner will want or what you really realistically think we can do this season? So, I'm going to add to that. Do you think promotion is a realistic target?
Yeah, I think it is. I think for Wagner. I think for Chris Davies. Mr. Tom Wagner. Yeah, we got called out in the comments, didn't we? For Tom Wagner, I think he will want to get back to the Premier League as quickly as possible. He's invested in the sports quarter. He's proven he's not scared to put his hand in his pockets and buy as good players from the League One season last season, getting us ready for the Championship. Absolutely no doubt he will have in the back of his mind a push for some kind of promotion this season. I think if we're just going to strip it back and be realistic as Blues fans, I think the most realistic way of doing that will be through the playoffs, just through the competitiveness of the parachute payments, just from the teams coming up, from the nature of the Championship being a very difficult division. I think if we are to do it, in my opinion, it will be through the playoffs. I've backed us in the previous questions video to finish 6th, which puts us in that running. There's no doubt it can happen. And Sunderland did it this year. They beat Sheffield United against the odds, didn't they? Sheffield United were firm favourites to go up. We backed them, Dad, in a pre-playoff review video. And I think if we're going to do it, it'll be through 6th. But I also think that to add to that, I think Tom Wagner's going to want a cup run as well. I think he wants it all. He wants some cups. He wants promotions. He wants everything, doesn't he? And what I loved about it was that speech after the Virtue Trophy final, because it showed he cared. He showed that wasn't the standards I don't think he wanted or was expecting on the day. He expecting them to raise the bar, and I think some sort of last 16 in one of the cups would be great as well. And again, I think in something like the Carling Cup, where bigger teams tend to take it a bit less seriously, why not push for a last 16 quarter-final, semi-final? Let's be optimistic this season.
Yeah. I think with the Blues fans, when you listen to the fans and you look at social media, there's two schools. The one school is say we're Birmingham City, we're spending a fortune, we're going to smash this league. We're going to, and why not? And they're saying we should have the attitude, we're winners. And I get that. I do get that sort of mindset. But then there's the reality of the Championship as well. Yeah, and that's what the other school is. We know that this is a division where basically any team could beat any team. And even if you have got the best team, like the team Sheffield United, they were flying in the top 2 for most of last season. And you only have to go on a bad run or get a few injuries, and you just don't know, do you?
Exactly.
So the reality is that I think that we will be much more competitive than we've been for many, many years in the Championship this season. But I'm in the same school as you, Matt. I think I predicted 4th or 5th, which is playoffs, as an absolute fantastic season for us. Yeah. But I'd love to see us, do in Ipswich, and I'm thinking that's something that is difficult because there's lots of things needs to go in your favour for that to happen. Mm-hmm. Not just having good players. I mean, that's clearly a big part of it.
Yeah.
But it's those like bad refereeing decisions. It's we last time was in the Championship as well. Off air we had a conversation about how we got relegated, and we were talking about a handball goal against Hull because we only needed 1 point to stay up. We were talking
the equaliser Plymouth away.
We were 3-1 up.
3-1 up.
So there's loads that can happen, and they're all factors you have to think about. So for me, to be realistic, I think yes, we are going to have a good squad. We are going to be much more competitive, but we're not. I don't think that any team is really going to walk this league. It's going to be it's so open. But for me,
I mean, look at that. Burnley didn't win the league on 100 points last season.
I know.
That's staggering.
Well, Sheffield United didn't go up, and they had like 90-odd points,
exactly.
didn't they?
It really is. It really is a competitive decision. And also as well, you found towards the end of the season, like Sheffield United lost to Plymouth, and you're seeing Hull beating some of the top teams, like, the teams down the bottom, if they switch it on for a game, they can do some damage as well.
It's like when the weekend we got relegated, Blackburn won at Leicester.
Yeah, exactly.
And
every team won. Sheffield Wednesday won at Sunderland. I forgot the others. Leicester lost to Blackburn.
Plymouth beat Hull.
Yeah. There was one more as well, weren't there? But yeah, it was just... I think we've spoken about this before. That if you had a supercomputer, that would happen 1 out of 100 times or something.
Yeah,
it was absolutely mental.
I mean, I think promotion is realistic, but I think that we're a building team, we're a developing team, and it'd be nice to get over the line and do that type of thing. But the reality is, we're back in the Championship. We'll be competitive, and let's see what we can do next season.
And that's another point, Dad. Last thing on me on this question is, I do think we'll get in the playoffs. I think we'll sneak that last slot of 6th. I think we're going to have a good season. But also as well, if that didn't happen and we were, let's say, 8th, 9th, 10th, but we were really competitive this season and we could see the success coming and we build on it for the next season, I'd still be happy with that as well.
Yeah,
just being competitive for me in what this season would be great. But I'm still going to put I always have my neck on the line. It's not that much of a wild prediction. I still think we'll make the playoffs.
Okay. So next question, Matt, is from one of our regulars, Old and Blue. I think this is Matrix person. The person who keeps giving the Matrix crap. So thank you. I think it's Andy. I think he's now. Thank you very much for the question. And we've talked about this a little bit previously, but just give me a sort of a condensed answer to this, really. But and this is what he says: while I'm confident the current squad is capable of holding their own, what would your priorities for the improvement of the challenge at the top? For me, it's more pace and power on the wings and ability to carry the ball on transition and to support Jay and Alfie up front. So what's your thoughts on that?
I actually couldn't agree with Andy. Matrix, Old and Blue, whichever reference you want to use anymore. I think I've spoken quite a lot about this, that I think our defence is outstanding. Probably our strongest attribute, I think, our defence, especially if you add in Neumann now with Clara. I mean, they're just going to be absolute tanks, aren't they? I love Allsop as well. I think Allsop's a great keeper. Paik and Iwata, outstanding in my opinion. For me, Paik and Iwata backwards are all Championship ready players. And if you're going to use Stano in the up front as well, I think Stano. Yeah. I think our biggest problem, room for improvement, let's say, is exactly what Andy says, and it's the 3 attacking midfielders for me. It's the left, it's the right, and it's the 10.
Yeah.
I think all 3 of those have to be invested in this summer. And if we can get that right, I think that's the difference between us having promotion challenge and being a mid-table Championship team. If we can get those positions right, and we are talking players like Damari Gray, we're talking Poku, we're talking, someone like Rodoni from Coventry in the 10, those kind of players we need to bring in to make ourselves a successful Championship team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the players you've mentioned we've currently got are all great players, and that they're all obviously really important players for us. But for me, it's going to be depth, because if any of those players get injured, it's having the players to come in to fill those gaps as well. So yeah, that's fine if they're all completely fit. So for me, those wide players definitely, and the number 10 is crucial. I think most Blues fans would agree. That's the area we need to strengthen. But I think it's more depth in certain positions. So I think the players you've named are probably going to be first choice starting players, I guess.
I think so. And I think a lot of Blues fans will be thrilled with that. Yeah. As I said, we all know Paik and Iwata are outstanding. We know the defence is great. For me, I think Stansfield will naturally be our number 1, number 9. Obviously, Alfie May we have as well. Super Alfie May, we love him. So let's see how he gets on, raise it, because he's never been at the Championship level before, has he, Alfie May? We're interested to see how he gets on there. Yeah. But for me, I think Stansfield's really going to excel this season. And the reason why he's going to excel, from the back of the question, is because we're going to invest in some real good support for him in those 3 attacking mids.
Yeah, I mean, let us know your thoughts on that. I mean, I think that's a general consensus from what we've been reading across the social media about Blues fans, about where we do really need to try and strengthen. But is there any other positions that you think we could strengthen? Let us know in the comments below. So thanks for that question. Next question is from Alfie Price. Can you see Jude Bellingham or Jobe Bellingham potentially playing for Blues again, and maybe together? Is it realistic, and if so, when?
Good question, isn't it? Yeah. This one did give me a little chuckle. Who knows? Because we all know players like to go back to their first clubs a little bit later in their career, don't they? So we might get Jude and Joe back when they're kind of like early 30s maybe. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, if we're going to be honest, Jude Bellingham is completely unrealistic for the near future. He's a Champions League player. He's an England international.
And does he want to sit on our bench?
Yeah. There you go. His price tag's 100 million plus now. World star. He's a rare breed, Jude Bellingham. Not being disrespectful, I think Jobe Bellingham's a great player as well. I think he's probably more realistic. I mean, fair play to him as well, and good luck to him at Dortmund. I know he's just signed for Dortmund, so good luck to Joe. But if it's going to happen, it'll be in the later end of their career when they may be winding down. They want to come back to their club. We see it quite a lot, don't we? Players go, they have a career, they do the Champions League, and then they come back to their first club towards the end of their career. But I think the stars would have to align to get them back at the same time, which would still be fun and interesting anyway. But I can't see that happening anytime soon, sadly.
I think that they'll both want to come back.
Yeah, I agree.
Particularly,
they love Birmingham City, don't they?
And they do. And imagine, we got our new stadium. They're going to want to go and play in that, aren't they? And I think you're right. I mean, these type of players, as where we are right now as a club, we lose players that go on to bigger and better things, and we tend to, if we do get them back, we get them back later on in their career. I think you're right. That will happen. It'd be nice to get them back when there's still a bit of
energy in the legs.
Yeah, just to give them a, because players have come back, haven't they? And with respect, it hasn't really worked out. Troy Deeney, for example, he's obviously a big Blues fan. He was respected by the Blues fans, and he came back, and it didn't work out for him, did it? But he came into a struggling team at a point in his career where he was coming towards the end, and I don't really want to see that, if I'm honest. I don't want a player to come back to Blues who is an icon, like a like a Jude Bellingham, and then come back, and then suddenly, he's not the player he was, and he doesn't. He doesn't lead the club then with the reputation that he had previously before he came back. If you know what I mean. I think possibly, and this is going way into the future as well. You could be looking at a new manager there as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Jude Bellingham manager, because Trevor did it, didn't he? Trevor Francis, and he was Trevor for me will always be the most iconic player that's ever played for Birmingham City. Trevor Francis, always, and he came back as manager. He did brilliant as manager.
And that was when I was just starting to fall in love with the Blues as well. When Trevor was manager, I remember the penalties at Preston away for the playoffs. I remember the Liverpool Worthington Cup final. Cardiff, I have great memories under Trevor's management and stuff.
So it shows you a former iconic player can come back, because he lifts the club, So if you get somebody coming like that who knows the DNA of the club, who's got a massive history with the club, it lifts everybody, and everybody's happy and everybody's behind them. And I remember when Trevor did come back, the feeling of what it was like having him as our manager was absolutely fantastic. So I think, and I know we're looking way into the future, because Jude Bellingham's got a massive, and Jobe actually have got big futures ahead of them as players.
Yeah, exactly that. And I agree, Dad. I mean, there's nothing worse. I mean, you go into a nightclub and there's a bloke in his 60s there. It's like, come on, you've had your time. Just pack it in.
Talk about me.
It's like, you've had your time. Pack it. Like, you don't want Jude and Jobe to come back when they're past it, do you? It just. I'd much rather see them. I think in their prime would be unrealistic, but in that little gap between prime and retirement.
So for some reason, Gareth Ainsworth popped into my mind. I've got no idea why. Anyway, let's move on.
You could so imagine him in a nightclub, couldn't you, tearing it up?
You could still imagine him with a guitar, sort of drone out. Obviously, they've got that rock star look about. But okay, so that's a good question, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Next question, Matt, is from Carol Morley. Thank you very much for the question, Carol. Have you heard any news about the work to the main stand? I heard Blues are planning on doing some badly needed improvements. Any thoughts?
The only thing I've ever heard on the main stand, Dad, is that they were going to improve the roof. Or expand.
That was a rumour. That was.
Was it a rumour? Okay.
Yeah, I know where you got that from as well.
Was that just me and you talking in the stadium?
No,
maybe?
it was the fans. We were talking at a game, and somebody somebody said that I'm not going to name names, but somebody said, they've heard that we'll be taking off the roof to the main stand.
Oh, okay, right.
That's not.
I thought that was through more official channels. That was just a chat in the stadium. That's embarrassing.
It's like one of those conversations you have when you're drunk, and when you're sober, it becomes a reality. You don't remember where it came from. Yeah. But no, the only work, and I re-looked at this because I know that there was some talk about this much earlier in the season about what was good. Because at the end of last season, we know in the summer last season, the club invested a massive amount of money on the stadium. They did talk about the main stand, so we didn't have time to do anything, but we're going to do something this summer. And I looked at it, and literally it's going to be a tidy up and redecoration.
Right. Isn't it a really tricky stand to work on?
Yeah. For
listed reasons, as in the houses behind it, the listing behind it.
Well, that's to do anything major, but I don't think you could do anything majorly structurally with it, because I think the frame's really old, the actual stand, so you'd literally have to rebuild it.
When was the main stand? Because the main stand was there in it was the first stand that went up, wasn't it? With seats in.
That one was, I believe, the way, how it is now. How it looks now, I think it goes back to around about the 1930s, 1940s, the original the way it looks.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But so it's been there a long, long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But the only work from Carol that I've looked at that was being done is they're literally going to spruce it up. So they'll be tidying it up. They might
new paint and everything.
New paint, make it look tidy. They'll probably maybe do something with the corporate areas in there because there are some executive boxes and areas in there, but nothing too major. And they were honest with us. They said that they phase one was obviously what they did to the club was to bring it back to life. And they did say to us that attention will shift to the sports quarter, and what they'll do then is just maintain the current ground. But you can't argue what they've done, can you? In terms of we've talked about this already, haven't we? About the fantastic improvements to the ground. But one thing they did do to the main stand last season, they changed all those dull seats. Do you remember the seats that had faded?
And it made a massive difference.
Huge,
because we get to the ground quite early, so when we look around the stadium, we do see a lot of empty seats because the time we get there. And we have not got to look at the manky water, just the rain hit seats anymore. It's actually glowing over there, isn't it? It makes a massive difference to all that sort of stuff. So I think they did a great job on the main stand with the seat changes, and I think the stadium feels like an experience now with those sorts of changes. And I think we'd all like to see some improvements to the main stand, just because it's a stand which hasn't had much love over the years. It is difficult with the restraints over there, but they do their best. I think good beer on tap and a bit of paint and hot water in the toilets, most fans will be relatively happy, won't they?
Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned, because we asked a question, didn't we, about this, about what improvements would you like to see? It might have been the last unscripted. A lot of people said, get Guinness on tap.
Yeah, good idea. So that would be a good idea.
Yeah, but that's just one improvement. But
didn't think about that. Damn, that's a good one.
Yeah. So that's what we know, Carol, and I believe that's what they'll be doing. So I don't think they expect to see anything majorly different when you look at it. It'll just be a lot tidier and a lot improvements in that direction. Final question, Matt, and we spoke about this in the last podcast. But when are you expecting the new kit launch this season? And are you going to? Are we going to do it early, like Chelsea, or delay it for maximum sales?
I think we're at the time of recording right now in this room. It's Father's Day, and I said to Dad on the last podcast, I got my father-in-law and you, Dad, as a present for Father's Day, the new kit last season. And clearly it hasn't been released because we haven't got new kits. Hasn't been released yet. So I think personally it'll be in the next 2 weeks, which I said on the previous podcast.
Yeah.
Because there's a balance, isn't there, of not annoying people wanting to see the kit, but then also there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in regards to press releases, in regards to photo shoots, video shoots. There's a whole load that goes on marketing campaigns. So there's a balance to strike. I have no doubt, in my personal opinion, we'll see it in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you're right, because that'll take us to the end of June then, at the time of recording.
Late June, early July, I reckon.
Yeah, and again, there's going to be massive demand. It could be that there's making sure they've got the right level of stock, because they go so fast, don't they? There's the first batch.
They do, yeah.
And we're not talking just in the club shop; it's online. Mm-hmm. So they'll want to make sure they've got but they'll know from last season, won't they? They would have learned a lot last season in terms of what the demand will be. And they'll make sure they got, because what they don't want to do is release the kit and suddenly people can't get it.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's part and parcel of it, but they'll have a date in mind. Like you said, I bet they've already got half the campaign ready now.
Oh, I bet they have.
Yeah,
I bet they have. I bet it's sitting in the can. They're just waiting for the right time to release it.
It was leaked last year, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
Was it leaked?
I'm really impressed this year hasn't been leaked so far.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. It's actually managed to get to this point. Usually there's an image somewhere.
I quite like. I mean, that's obviously the home kit behind you last year. I do like that. I think it's a really good kit.
I like it.
Be interesting to see what they do. And obviously it's essentially 150 year. Anniversary next season as well, so I wonder if they'll do anything with the logo, maybe have an old logo. I don't know. I'm guessing. I've got no idea.
And last season, Dad, was the first season for a long time I liked all three kits that got released: the home, the away, and the third kit as well. Were all fantastic. So we got the one behind me, the Sequoia, white and Sequoia, and then we had the black and red.
Yeah.
I loved all three of them. In fact, we've got all three of them somewhere behind us. And I think we've said, haven't we, Dad? If the kits are good and the merch is good, we will buy it. We want to support the club, and we've never spent as much as we have this past season.
A lot of fans said that, Matt.
I don't think I've spent more in the last 20 years than I have this last year in the club shop. We've got hoodies, we've got T-shirts, we've got the jerseys, and that shows if the kit is good quality and it looks good, we will buy it.
Yeah, and I think the club will know that it's a big part. Merchandise is a big part in it of the revenue, and the kit is a big part of that.
Yeah.
So if they get the kit right, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to that. But again, I'd probably guess the same time as you, maybe next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think so.
See. Okay, that's it. So that's all our questions. So thank you very much for all those. We will put another community post out, in a number of weeks to get some more questions off you, because me and Matt really love these podcasts. And it's a great way for you as the fans to engage with us in the podcast. But as always, hope you've enjoyed this one. And if you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll also find us on there. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these channels right now. If you haven't subscribed already and you'd like to, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button. And if you'd like notifications every time we put a new podcast out, hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button to allow that to happen. So that's it for this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one. All about Birmingham City.